So, Revelation 21 and verse 1, where it talks about a new heaven and a new earth. And the first earth had passed away in the sea, and there was no longer any sea. Okay, so there's new heaven and new earth. Where did John get that from? I mean, he did see it in a vision, okay? But was this event recorded before? Yes, it was. In the prophets. You see, folks, everything that the apostles and that Yeshua Messiah talked about was written in the prophets. Everything. Let me show you something. Isaiah 66. Oh, and before I get started, I wear this yellow clothing of shame and the yellow star, the sign of shame, that the Christians were forced to wear, or that the Christians forced the Jews to wear, while the Christians were pillaging, raping, murdering, and burning the Jews and the followers of Yeshua at the stake. I do this in solidarity with the persecuted to testify against the persecutor, the Roman Christians. And they will have their day in court. And I'm going to show you something in Isaiah 66, very short, brief passage, but I will start at verse 1. I will show you this brief passage that proves that the Gentiles' tribulation happens when Israel is saved from the Gentiles. Right. You see, when you read chapter 66, you need to read the whole chapter, not just a couple of verses. Now, the preachers, they love to go to Isaiah 66 and immediately start in verse 7. Why would you start in verse 7 and then stop? And why would you stop? Why would you stop with, verse 10? Or, no, they stop at verse 8. That's right. Now, watch this. So let's start in verse 1. And we're going to see how Isaiah 66 and Revelation 21 and verse 1, well, Revelation 21 is the same event. Verse 1, Thus saith Jehovah, Heaven is my throne, and earth is my footstool. Where is the house that you built unto me, and where is the place of my rest? All of these things have I made with my hand, and all of these things have been, saith Jehovah. But to this man will I look, even to him that is poor and of contrite spirit, and trembles at my word. He that kills an ox as if he slew a man, he that sacrificed a lamb as if he cut off a dog's neck, he that offers an oblation as if he offered swine's flesh, the swine's blood, he that burns incense as if he bless an idol, yes, he that has chosen their own ways. Yes, this is what Christianity has done today. They have chosen their own ways. They even say that they keep the pagan holidays, and they do so to prove they have conquered paganism, and they do it for Christ's sake. This is what I have heard it said that way. Believe it or not. They have chosen their own ways, and their soul delights in their abominations. I will also choose their delusions and will bring their fears upon them, because when I called, nobody answered. When I spoke, they did not hear, but they did evil before my eyes and chose that in which I delighted not. Hear the word of Jehovah, you that tremble at my word, at his word. your brethren that hated you, that cast you out for my name's sake. Which nation has Jehovah's title? Israel. Okay? And who were Israel's brethren that cast out Israel? It was the Edomites. The Edomites helped the Romans. They first helped the Babylonians do it, and then they helped the Romans do it. The Syrians too. The Syrians also are Israel's brethren. And they participated in the destruction of Jerusalem. He says, let Jehovah be glorified, but he shall appear to your joy, and they, the enemy, shall be ashamed. So, Israel's joy goes up, and the Gentiles' joy goes down in the same day. You don't believe it? Let's read on. A voice of noise from the city, a voice from the temple, a voice from Jehovah that rendereth recompense to his enemies. Before she travailed, she brought forth. Before her pain came. Wait a minute. What did we just read? Before her pain came. This is talking about the very last attack on Jerusalem. The one that's going to be foiled. Before her pain came, she was delivered of a man-child. And people say that's talking about Yeshua Messiah. But if they would read further, they would read it's more than that. Who has heard such a thing? Who has seen such things? Shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day? Or shall a whole nation? Oh, you see, folks, this is what we're talking about. Be born at once. For as soon as Zion travailed, as soon as her pain began to start, as soon as they surrounded Zion, what happened? She brought forth her children. Let me make it simple for you. Isaiah 60 happened as soon as these nations gathered round about to create a tumult to try to overthrow Jerusalem. And again he says in verse 8, who has heard such a thing? Who has seen such things? Shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day, or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth her children. Shall I bring to birth, and shall not cause to bring forth, saith Jehovah? Shall I cause to bring forth, and then shut the womb? This is what the world wants. But Jehovah has other plans. That you may suck and be satisfied with the breast of her consolation, that you may milk out and be delighted with the abundance of her glory. Read Isaiah 60 and you'll find out what he's talking about. For thus says Jehovah, behold, I will extend peace to her, that's Jerusalem, like a river. And the glory of the Gentiles are going to be brought like a flowing stream, and then you shall suck at what? The breast of the Gentiles. They're going to have to bring food, bring clothing, bring gold, all of their gold and silver to Jerusalem. Then you shall be suck, and you shall be borne upon her sides, and shall be dandled upon her knees, as one whom his mother comforts, so I will comfort you, and you shall be comforted in Jerusalem. And when you see this, your heart shall rejoice, and your bones shall flourish like an herb. The hand of Jehovah shall be known toward his servants, and his indignation toward his enemies. You see, there it is again. Jerusalem rises up, Israel rises up, and the Gentile enemies go down. It happens at the same time on the same day. That's when the time of the Gentiles comes to the full, as Paul spoke about in Romans 11, verse 26 and 27. For by fire and by sword will Jehovah plead with all flesh, or put all flesh on trial. This is the great tribulation that everybody talks about, whom they claim the great tribulation is upon Israel, but that's a lie. The great tribulation is upon the Gentiles, as we are reading in Isaiah 66 right now. And the slain of Jehovah shall be many. Who are they? Who are these that are going to be slain? They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the garden behind one tree, eating the swine's flesh and the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together. He's talking about the Gentiles. Therefore, he says, I know your works and their thoughts, and it shall come that I will gather all nations and tongues, and they will see my glory. And he's going to send a signal to them. He's going to give them an order. And I will ascend those that escape of them. Escape from what? Escape from Ezekiel 38 and 39. To the lands of Tarshish, to the lands of Pul, to the lands of Turkey, Lydia, that draw the bow, to also the land of Tubal and Greece, to the coastlands far away that have not heard my fame, neither have they seen this particular event, when he showed his glory in Ezekiel 38 and 39, these men who survivors of that event are going to be sent to those nations to say, hey, this is what you've got to do to survive. You ready? And they shall declare my glory unto among the Gentiles, and they shall bring all your brethren for an offering unto... what? All of Jerusalem's brethren as an offering. That means all Israel has to be brought back. And the nations that do this, Tarshish is going to be first. The ships of Tarshish is going to be first, as it's written in Isaiah 60, verses 8 through 10. The ships of Tarshish will be first. So when they bring the children of Israel back to Jerusalem, he is going to accept that as an offering. That's what is written right here. It says, they shall bring your brethren for an offering unto Jehovah out of all nations, upon every kind of moving vehicle. That's what it says. When he says, in horses and in chariots and in litters and upon mules and swift beasts to my holy mountain Jerusalem, saith Jehovah, as the children of Israel bring an offering in a clean vessel. In other words, the Gentiles, if they want to have their offerings accepted, they have to bring in the children of Israel, just like the way that the children of Israel brought a clean offering unto Jehovah. That's how their offering is going to be accepted. And he's going to take out of the children of Israel for priests and Levites. What? You see, the Levitical priesthood itself will be no more. It'll be the priesthood after the order of Melchizedek. The children of Israel themselves, the whole house of Israel, all 12 tribes, will be a kingdom of priests. For as the new heavens and a new earth shall I make, shall remain before me, saith Jehovah, so that your seed and your name remain. Oh, so that Israel's seed will remain. This is what's going to happen in Revelation 21 and verse 1. You see, it's the same thing. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, says Jehovah. And they are going to be forced to look upon the dead bodies of the men that have transgressed against him. For their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched. They shall be an abhorring unto all flesh. And yes, they will not be alive, they will be dead. As it's written right here, the dead carcasses. Look upon the carcass of the men that transgressed. So, Isaiah 66 and Revelation 21 are the same thing. And it mentions in Revelation 21 the New Jerusalem, you see. So what's going to happen to the New Jerusalem? All Israel will be brought in, will be brought as an offering. And when the Gentiles bring all Israel in as an offering, that offering will be accepted and the plagues will be stayed. It's just that simple. Because when sin has been committed and plagues are brought against those who sinned, and an offering is required, when that offering is brought, when the work is done, the plague is stayed. The plague is stopped. Now, I have not twisted the scripture. I have not twisted Isaiah 66. I have not picked and chosen which verse I want to read and twist and which I want to leave off. No, I read it from top to bottom. And if you go and you read Revelation 21, verses 1 through 27, it is the same thing. As you read in verse 12, they had a great wall, high, great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and the names written thereof, which are named the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Read the whole thing, and you will see that it is essentially the same episode. It is the same event. He brings a new Jerusalem. And he's going to have all Israel be brought in through 12 gates, named after each and every one of the tribes of Israel. You cannot water this down by calling it spiritual. Let's try, as they say, spiritual. No, read it as it's written. Read Isaiah 66 as it is written, and read Revelation 21 as it is written. Stop trying to insert your own thoughts in it. Stop trying to insert your own thoughts in Romans 11, especially verse 26. When Paul said all Israel shall be saved, he meant all Israel shall be saved. Period. It is not up for, Scripture is not up for a private interpretation. And make sure that the translators got the words right. Search Scripture, read Strong's Concordance, make sure your words are understood correctly. This is not hard, folks. This is not hard at all. But I'll tell you, and in order to do this, in order to get the truth, you're going to have to reject your preacher. Because no preacher who takes your money believes this or teaches this.